Farms sprouting sunshine are popping up across Michigan. A less pleasant weed could be popping up in dry bean and sugar beet fields, and Michigan Sugar is planning a big expansion. I'm Janelle Brose, and this is Farm News 5.
Farm News 5 is brought to you by Ford.
Are sunflowers the happiest flower? It depends on who you ask. But Dave Cheney, fifth-generation farmer and owner of Mason, Michigan's Cheney Farms, says he sees a lot of smiles when neighbors drive by or families sit for photos in their sunflower fields.
Throughout the summer they flower, and that's when the big attraction comes. People like driving by, taking pictures. You see a lot of young people out taking senior pictures. We'll see those photos show up on Facebook and social media, and then we'll see them in yearbooks as well. So that's kind of nice to think that they're taking pictures at our farm.
The Ingham County operation is one of many farms in the state raising sunflowers. The Cheneys began their sunflower journey only 4 years ago as a way to diversify their operation.
We were raising wheat at the time, and I hired a scout to help us manage that wheat for higher yielding crop. And he was starting to look at alternatives, in addition to growing wheat, and he brought up the idea of raising sunflowers. And we thought, we'll give it a try on a few acres. And the first crop was actually pretty good. We had a nice yield out of it, and we were able to sell most of them at that time through a roadside stand. And that's really how we continue today, is moving all the black oil sunflower seeds through a roadside stand for bird feed. The beauty of this crop is that we can use the equipment that we already have. We plant them in 30-inch rows with our corn planter. Don't even have to change the seed disc, just change the population, which is roughly 22,000 plants per acre is our goal. It likes fertilizer, it likes nitrogen, so we put that on before the plant comes out of the ground. And then weed control is always the battle with a crop that doesn't have all the genetic traits that corn and beans have. So sometimes it's hit and miss, and this year we got a little bit of both. The goal here is to harvest the crop, store it as we need to, and then eventually we'll take it up to Michigan Crop Improvement and they will clean it and bag it for us. I think buying local has its appeal, and we provide that opportunity for people to pull up next to a little red barn and buy seed right out of there. There's a little deposit box for the cash. It's honor system, and I'm happy to say that it's pretty darn accurate.
Up next, growers had a field day with dry beans and sugar beets.
There's torque. Then there's 1,050 pound-feet of available best-in-class torque. There's towing. Then there's up to 37,000 pounds of available best-in-class towing. There's backing up a trailer. Then there's backing up with available class-exclusive Pro Trailer Backup Assist. In other words, there are trucks, and then there's the new Ford Super Duty, the most capable heavy-duty pickup truck ever built.
Trials at a pair of research fields, one in Saginaw County and one in Shiawassee County, are underway to determine what mix of herbicides can conquer herbicide-resistant water hemp in dry bean and sugar beet fields.
Really what we're focusing on is using overlapping residual herbicides, and we can do that both in sugar beets and in dry beans. So we're really trying to focus on, are we seeing too much injury with some of these different programs that we might put together? And also, are they going to affect yield, but how well do they work as far as controlling water hemp? So what we've found out is, especially with sugar beets, depending on when you plant, if you are able to get out in the field early, you may not need to worry about putting a pre down, but we've got some special labeling to get some pre's used if need be, if it's a later planting. But really talking about making sure that we get some residuals in with our glyphosate or Roundup applications in crop. And then with sugar beets, with dry beans, because we're planting later, water hemp is starting to come up. So we really need to start with a good pre-herbicide. And then we've got one option post-emergence, but we can also add some residuals in with that, which will help us keep clean throughout the rest of the season. Because water hemp has not been super common throughout Michigan, and we're really starting to see it ramp up over the last couple years, right now we're starting to see a lot of it come up through particularly soybean canopies now. So if you're driving by your fields, take a look and see if there's something that just all of a sudden appeared out in your field that could be water hemp. And some things you could think about doing is if you have some sporadic plants out there, the best thing to do is get them out of your field so they don't go to seed. And the other thing you can do is if you get to the point where it's later in the season and you're curious to what kind of resistance you might have, the MSU Plant and Pest Diagnostic Services does testing for resistance. So you can collect some of that seed and send it in. And we'll be talking about some of the recommendations from our research over the last few years at winter meetings, and we'll also include those in the 2022 MSU Weed Control Guide.
Coming up, Michigan Sugar sweetens the pot with a major expansion.
At Farm Bureau Insurance, the experience you get with our local trusted advisors is different. From financial security to a helping hand, Farm Bureau understands the experience matters. Find an agent who can protect what matters to you.
Michigan Sugar Company is planning to spend more than $65 million to build a desugarization facility at its Bay City factory. The facility will allow the company to produce an additional 80 million pounds of sugar each year. The project is expected to begin this fall and will take up to 2 years to complete. Once the facility is up and running, the company expects to process as much as 650 tons of molasses daily, up from 325 tons currently. It looks like 2021 will be a down year for Michigan's apple crop. The estimate for 2021 is short nearly 4 million bushels compared to last year and is below average for the state's apple industry. The reason? Unforgiving temperature swings in April when some areas spent more than 9 hours around 20 degrees. While the number of apples harvested may be lower, producers are expecting another excellent crop in terms of quality. For more news and videos, visit MichiganFarmNews.com or the Michigan Farm Bureau channel on YouTube. With Farm News 5, I'm Janelle Brose. Have a great week of farming.